I need to know if you're gonna have this thing with Asilas handled before the next full moon, damn it.
You know I can't guess what that maniac will do. I can merely assure you, all of our forces are ready for a full invasion. But, Your Majesty, perhaps it would be best for you and the whole royal family to relocate to our contingency base in Switzerland. America wouldn't dare go near it.
You bumbling idiot. Don't put anything past that pillock. At last check, his forces are knocking on the door, and it's completely unacceptable that England's forces are incapable of guarding the palaces. You are a complete disappointment, Mr. Prime Minister.
Sir, we are going to protect you and all the royals. I will give my life gladly if I must to protect you.
I would use your body as a human shield. But that would mean that barbarian Asilas, he wouldn't be far away, and I know he would love nothing more than to hang me in a public spectacle and parade my dangling corpse from the end of a rope. Mr. Prime Minister, I will not hang at the hands of that cockroach Asilas. Do I make myself clear?
Loud and clear, Your Majesty. I'll contact you once we get control of the American forces. I should go now, my king.
You better get this right, or we'll all hang at the hands of that dreadful wretch.
New Kingdom Radio Theater.
Hi, I'm Carla.
And I'm Michael.
And we're Go Postal Podcast, the podcast that is basically a grab bag of fun.
Each week we share crazy stories that relate to a theme ranging from Burning Man to prison to zombies.
And I give some fun facts of the boobs, booze, and bizarre variety about your favorite places and a slice of hysterical history, featuring a new person or era every week.
We also welcome the Countess, your tasteful guide to modern culture.
Find us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, or any podcatcher of your choosing.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Ciao.
Initially, Great Britain, with the backing of the European alliance, declared war on America in an attempt to thwart Asilas' takeover of Canada and to try to end the spreading of America. However, all of King Asilas' provocations were choreographed to bottleneck British and European forces at specific geographic locations, and they unknowingly fell into a strategic trap. The hunters had become the hunted, but they were not even aware, for they were always being hunted by King Asilas. With American forces swiftly breaking through England's naval blockade, it was only a matter of time before England's mainland was invaded. King George and some of his royal family fled to Switzerland under the cover of night and left most of the British royal family in London and the palaces in the English countryside. Asilas sent in his special knight Spartans specifically to close in on the royals. With Lord Anna Patricia Shelley leading the charge, the American army and marine forces decimated the English and made their way into London.
Your Majesty, we are rapidly closing in on the royals as you have commanded. We've surrounded Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle and are ready to initiate the final phase of our plan to capture the royals. Our Knight Spartan, Gideon, is awaiting the go-ahead to proceed. Sir, we also think we know where the British Prime Minister is. We could make a bold move here and take a shot at capturing him as well. But I think this is your call, sir.
Make the royals your first priority, Lord Shelley. We've already shown the Brits and the world that we can get to anybody, even prime ministers. But it's the royals we need to make the grandest statement, you see?
You have a valid point, sir. I just think it would be a strategic advantage for us to take out the Prime Minister if we can. I mean, from a military standpoint, I couldn't think of anything that would destroy the morale of their armed forces more than taking out their true leader.
Lord Shelley, King George, in spite of everything people are told, is the one in charge. He tells the Prime Minister to lay down and roll over as he wishes. He is our prime target, and the Prime Minister is our secondary target. Is that understood?
Understood, Your Majesty.
If and only when you capture King George can you go after the Prime Minister.
Sir, don't you think we should consider the possibility King George isn't even here?
You mean like if he fled from his country because he was too scared to face his enemies?
Yes, to be blunt, sir.
First, let's get a confirmation that scoundrel George has left the country. If he is not there, then we'll proceed with our contingency plans, Lord Shelley. I believe an absence of the prime target was one of the scenarios.
Indeed, there was that scenario, Your Majesty. I will contact command once we get a confirmation.
Send in the Knight Spartan Gideon immediately, Lord Shelley.
Copy that, sir.
You promised I could seek safe haven if things ever got out of hand with America. Well, now the time has come. I need you to make good on that promise. Things have gone terribly wrong, and I fear for my countrymen.
I can certainly appreciate your show of loyalty, King George. We have an agreement that has stood for centuries, so there is not a worry about our commitment. The brazen expansion of the American empire has become ferociously problematic. And it is up to us, the old guard, to put a stop to Asilas. We really don't want to have to resort to calling on the masters to intervene.
God, no. That would only embolden the tosser more. No, we need to bring his idiocy under control on our own or risk Armageddon. Like the real thing.
Everyone needs to stay calm. I'm sure the Order is working on contingency plans. We've got 1,000 years advantage on the American brute.
Don't underestimate that dreadful bloke. If he even remotely gets wind of a way to draw out the Drax into the open, the whole world will align with him, and it would be the end of our order.
Well, what do you suggest we do? Nuclear arms are useless to us now. When we have stood by as Asilas took control of all these seemingly insignificant countries, only to realize after the fact that he was merely growing his armies. We're outnumbered and have no super weapon to stop him. Besides, that wretch has already made a spectacle of killing the Drax in that cage match he put on the net.
Yes, well, let's hope people start believing it was all special effects and CGI tricks. We still have many media outlets spewing conspiracy theories 24 hours a day. And as for a super weapon, that isn't necessarily true that we have none. We still have access to very invasive weapons that have yet to be seen on the battlefield, and America has no way to neutralize them.
Is that right? Well, what are these secret weapons? And when will they be used? Because as I see it, England is about to get sacked. Within a matter of days, you won't have a country anymore.
I can't help if my generals are Waziks. I just hope the Prime Minister will get it together in time.
You really should have stayed in England, my friend. Now you put the fate of your country in the hands of men and women you clearly have no confidence in.
I will not hang at the hands of that wretch.
Differences, which is all you ever hear about in this country, is our differences. It's all they ever talk about. Politicians and the media always pushing the things that separate us, things that make us different. That's the way the ruling class operates in any society. They divide the rest of the people. They keep the lower and the middle classes fighting with each other so that they, the rich, can run off with all the money. Fairly simple thing. Fairly simple thing happens to work. Anything that's different about us, you know that's what they're pushing at you. Racial differences, religious, ethnic, national backgrounds, jobs, income, education, social status, sexuality, anything they can do to keep us fighting with each other so that they can keep going to the bank.
Supposed to hate you just because I never knew you, and the place where you come from, and the feelings that you feel. I can't relate to your beliefs, and the things your elders preach, and your idea of right or wrong. This confusion that I see, separate, separate, fill them all with fear and hate, kill them if they make a sound, divide and conquer, take them down, suffocate, manipulate, orchestrate how they behave, kill them if they make a sound, divide and conquer, take them down. All this madness born of fears from the last 2,000 years. This illusion they create from the man-made lies they teach. I see humanity exploding and our liberty eroding. This division that we crave, this confusion that I see. Separate, separate, fill them all with fear and hate. Kill them if they make a sound. Divide and conquer, take them down. Suffocate, manipulate, orchestrate how they behave. Kill them if they make a sound. Divide and conquer, take them down. Striving for a better life with violence, death, and suicide.
Mistake, and beg him not to notify anyone that you inquired.
Your Majesty, with all due respect, the Swiss president will know you put me up to this.
Of course, but I'll never admit to it, and he knows that as well. We've got nothing to lose by inquiring.
You're right, sir. I will contact him now.
Quentin Capone reached out to the parliamentary president of Switzerland and asked him if he knew of the whereabouts of England's King George. At first, the president was surprised and even insulted to be asked such a question. It became clear at the onset the Swiss president was lying, and Capone became aggressive, asking the Swiss leader to do what is best for his country and hand over King George. The president continued to insist he was not aware of King George's whereabouts. Then Capone called his bluff. He told the Swiss leader if he did not at least admit King George was hiding in Switzerland, he would let King Asilas know of his deception, and they would initiate the trishul throughout the country and put all their leaders at great peril. It was at that moment that the Swiss president admitted King George was in fact in Switzerland, but insisted his country was neutral in world affairs, and America needed to respect the neutrality treaty signed in Paris back in 1815. Capone told him he could not guarantee the neutrality treaty would be honored if King George and all the British royals were not extradited to America within 3 days. The Swiss leader did not give him an answer, and instead cut off communications with Lord Capone.
Your Majesty, after extensive searches and interrogations of captured British brass, it's my opinion King George is not in England.
Are there any royals there?
Yes, sir. Gideon has apprehended 13 royals, including the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge.
But no princesses?
Yes, the Prince and Princess of Kent. But they are far down the line, Your Majesty. It appears King George took the Queen and his close circle with him.
Have Gideon and his men build gallows at Tyburn. I want the royals hung as soon as possible.
But sir, we haven't secured the entire city, nor the country for that matter. There are still several active fronts throughout the whole country, and the Brits are nowhere near surrendering.
Lord Shelley, give Gideon and his men all the cover they need to ensure they have the gallows built within 3 days. It has to happen before the next full moon.
I don't understand the urgency of the hanging, sir.
Damn it, Lord Shelley, it isn't necessary for you to know this right now. Just follow your damn orders and get the gallows built. When you return from England, I will tell you what is necessary for you to know.
Of course, sir. My apologies. I will have Gideon on it immediately.
Good. Make it happen sooner rather than later, Lord Shelley.
Don't you think you were a little rough on Lord Shelley, sir?
She's tougher than any man I know. So no, I wasn't. I respect and love her immensely.
Do you think she knows that? I often wonder.
Stop it, Quentin. I'm not like you in that regard. Besides, Lord Shelley recently got married. She has a wife now.
A wife, sir?
Yes, a wife, Quentin. You seem surprised I would even think about Shelley in that way. But don't be so quick to judge. Judgment is reserved for God.
Of course, Your Majesty. I just had no idea.
Please tell me you didn't try anything with her, too.
Well, no, she rejected my advances, but anyway, that was a while back before you, decreed I could no longer, you know.
I had to do that, Quentin. You were getting out of control. I need your mind focused on helping America defeat those monsters. How can you help me do that when you can't even defeat your own urges?
I suppose you have a point, sir. Moving on, what are we going to do about the King George Switzerland situation? It's been 48 hours and nothing.
They're leaving me no choice but to move on them. I'm calling King Hussein and having him move our eastern forces close to the Austrian border. We'll lift the fog on Italy and come at them from their southern border.
Sir, we aren't ready to engage Italy yet, are we?
We have Spartans throughout the whole of Europe, and we can assemble a team near the Italian border and go in through there.
So we are moving on Italy now? Okay, let's do this. I've been wanting to visit Italy my entire life.
You're not going to Italy, Quentin.
What? But why, sir? Oh, I get it. You think I'm going to misbehave with some Italian women, do you?
I don't think it. I know it. That's why you will be reuniting with Lord Roberts and continue working with her on the next phase of our Knight Spartans.
Lord Roberts again. You love torturing me, my brother.
At least I know with Lord Roberts you won't try any funny business.
She's a strict vegan, sir. She doesn't like movies or music or anything fun. She's a boring individual who seems to only get excited looking through microscopes. I don't think she's even capable of enjoying herself.
I happen to think strict vegans can be a lot of fun and creative in what they eat. I admire quite a few, to be honest. And Lord Roberts is a terrific tennis player. I've seen her in action, just so you know. Look, I'm happy you've gotten to know her, but clearly you don't know her well enough. Remember your mission, and fun isn't part of the equation. Lord Roberts awaits. Get to it. Chop chop.
As you command, Your Majesty.
My sources tell me King Asilas is moving his recon along with his so-called Spartans near the Italian and Austrian borders.
Yes, your intel is correct. They are coming for you. I'm unsure if it would be wise to jeopardize our entire operation and the less chance we have to remain in power on the planet by keeping you here. Perhaps you should consider moving again. Maybe your contacts can take you to Antarctica.
Oh, you're not sending me there, ever, under any circumstances. Besides, Asilas will be monitoring everything going in and out of Switzerland. He'll notice a bird crapping midair. He'll damn sure see us leaving.
Then you better hope our allies will help fend them off. And you better get those secret weapons of yours operational before it's too late.
been listening to The Rise of King Asilas, Episode 15, Royal Flush, starring J.V. Torres as King Asilas, Michael Hoggett as the English Prime Minister, J.J. Crown as King George, John Dobie as Lord Quentin Capone, Shane Meister as Lord Anna Patricia Shelley, Carlo Fioretta as the Swiss Prime Minister, and narrated by Sergei Berezhnikov. This episode features the songs The Game Is Over by Asylum 4 and Divide and Conquer by Dawn of Elysium. Download their music on Bandcamp and iTunes. Just search Asylum and the number 4 and Dawn of Elysium. Other contributions by Intuitive, Comico, Vortex, Dexter Britton, Sergei Cheremisinov, Chris Zabriskie, freesound.org, and Audio Jungle. For more information about the cast, the music, or this production, please visit us at www.theriseofkingasilas.com. This has been a production of the New Kingdom Radio Theater in Baltimore, Maryland. Copyright 2018. And stay tuned for episode 16.